Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity, Kumarji. I think I made it on time. So all the phone calls, all the messages, all the hounding did help. So I took it very seriously and I showed up on time. Mr. Prasanjit Datta, thank you, sir, for this opportunity to talk about skills, human resources, innovation within this space, and how Hyderabad, as a knowledge hub, as an emerging potential powerhouse within India as a city, and also globally with great deal of repute, how we could contribute to this story. And to the entire team of business today, and ladies and gentlemen, very good evening to all of you. As you all know, India is a very young country. India has the world's largest think force. I desist from calling young Indians a workforce. I would like to call it think force because I think in a knowledge economy, it's our collective intellect, it's our collective abilities, it's our collective innovation, and the ability to really provide solutions for the rest of the world as well is what is going to make the difference. As the world is getting older, India is getting younger. Look at the demographic. More than 50% of our nation is less than the age of 27, and more than 65% of the nation is less than the age of 35. Just to reinforce the point that we are a very, very young country. The thought leadership we as a country provide across the world today is visible in every sphere of technology and innovation. Satya Nadella, the Chief Executive Officer of Microsoft, Sundar Pichai, Chief Executive Officer of Google, I can go on, Ajay Banga of MasterCard, and Indra Nui, PepsiCo. I can go on and on about all the Indians who have made a big splash and a big mark across the world with their ability, with their intellect, and with their power and authority to organize human resources and rationalize human resources really well. Human resources are the key to success of any corporate or a startup, as we are all aware. And this isn't just a policing function to discipline someone or to hand out pink slips, which I think most of you guys sometimes end up unwillingly doing when things go wrong. There is good HR management, obviously, plays a very, very vital role in shaping a company and its fortunes. From keeping a check on the cost escalation to optimizing the utilization of resources at right places, because you need right people in the right positions to be able to deliver the goods, and also keeping your employees motivated in spite of their daily grind is the biggest challenges that HR professionals today face. But one thing that I think HR professionals, all of you would agree with me, is not everybody is going to be loving you. I think day in, day out, kind of work you put in, kind of effort you put in, if you think you've signed up for a job where everybody is just going to be in love with you, that is not going to happen. That is a reality you have to live with on a day-to-day basis. It's my pleasure today to participate in this leadership forum organized by Business Today, which is a very, very reputed business publication of the Today Group, India Today Group. You all should, obviously as a government as well and also as institutions, we all should be exploring innovative ways to harness human resources and their skilling abilities to deliver the goods. What do I mean? We as a government, for example, the state government of Telangana has nearly I think it's around 3.5 lakh employees right now, and then there are about 1 lakh vacancies that we are in the process of filling. Now, a state whose population is 4 crores being serviced by 4 lakh employees, unless there's a lot of collective thought, unless there's a purposeful execution, unless there's a lot of method to what we do, we will not be able to deliver the goods in a defined tenure of 5 years. I'll give you another example. As a city, Hyderabad is one of the most dynamic, most vibrant cities in the country. It's been consistently rated as a city with some of the best quality, on a quality of living index. Mercer continues to rate Hyderabad as one of the best cities in India. In the last 3 years, in fact, we've been rated as the city with the best quality of living. But a city like Hyderabad with a population of 1 crore, nearly 1 crore, is serviced by Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation, whose sanitation workers are about 22,000 only. So 1 crore people, create waste, and there's only 22,000 people clearing it or keeping the city clean. Unless we are able to rationalize, unless we are able to process its thought, that there is a collective purpose, a collective sense of being with respect to the city, will not be able to solve this problem. I think this same equation, the same logic applies on a number of counts, on a number of levels, to each and every institution, each and every organization as well. We in the government of Telangana, in fact, believe very, very strongly, for instance, the power of innovation. In fact, I keep calling it Jugaad. And in the Indian, Indian setup that we live in, we will not ever have, for example, you as HR personnel, HR managers, will never get everything you ask for. That is never going to happen. You'll have to make do with less. You'll have to be frugal. You'll have to reinvent. And that is where Jugaad comes in. We in Telangana, in fact, as a government, also have resorted to Jugaad. What am I talking about? We are currently executing a large drinking water project in Telangana. It's called Mission Bhagirath. The broad agenda and the broad vision. In fact, we will be the first state in the country to be providing a portable drinking water connection to each and every one of our 10 million homes. 70 years after independence, it's a shame actually that we are talking about drinking water to each and every home. But we are doing it. And in fact, it is being done in a very time-bound fashion. We're laying nearly 100,000 kilometers plus of water pipelines and directly a tap into every single home at the kitchen level, the sink level. So when we were doing this, when we were executing this project and we were planning this project, we thought, what more could we add in the same trench, because we are going to dig up the entire landscape anyway. What more could we do? How could we synergize so that we save on resources? That is what I call Jugaad. So we said, when we were just thinking out loud, we said, okay, possibly we could put in 4 things. 1, the water pipeline, of course. 2, piped gas, if you have the ability. 3, take all your electricity cables underground. And 4, communication cables, fiber optic network. Obviously, third world country like India, like I said, you can't get everything you ask for. So capital was a challenge. So we said, we'll not be able to take all 4. We'll only do 2. So we stuck with water, and now we are also laying fiber optic network. So Telangana in the next 6 months will be a state where each and every home will have a piped, portable drinking water connection, all at the cost of the government, no charge to the consumer. And then, by this time next year, we'll also be the first state in the country where every single home is wired by a high-speed broadband. Now, once that happens, you know how it can change things. You know how it can really change the way we work. Health, education, and a number of other things, where the last mile is a huge challenge. Because of this innovative Jugaad model, we've been able to find a solution. Another example I'd like to give. Today's world, I think the Aam Aadmi of India, the common man of India, spends a lot of time, resources, energies on education and health. That is the biggest challenge, that is the biggest concern. Now, we as a government, like I said, if we are able to address that common man's concern about quality education, quality skilling, quality training, then we would have done a great service, we would have saved him a lot of money. So in fact, as we speak, we have an institution called TSAT, which stands for Telangana Skilling and Training Institute, wherein what we do is, using satellite technology, using cable TV, we actually broadcast high quality education material to all the children who go through the grind of writing competitive exams. It could be the UPSC, it could be the MSET, the Engineering and Medicine Entrance Examination, or it could be IITs, it could be the teacher recruitment training that goes on, it could be the Group 1, Group 2 and other competitive exams that are conducted to recruit government employees. All of this again, more than 1,000 hours of quality material is being broadcast direct to home of each and every citizen. Now that is the beauty of how you can leverage technology. Our Honorable Chief Minister never fails to remind us that technology is a good thing, of course. Technology is a cool thing if you start hearing about all the good stuff like blockchain, the new things that people talk about, machine learning, artificial intelligence, robotics, a bunch of other cool words people keep throwing up. It's all good. Now, no, I have nothing against it. But technology that does not have a societal impact, technology that does not change the nature of doing business in a country like India, technology that does not help a common man of India, is absolutely useless. There's no purpose to it. It just can't be about using technology for the sake of technology. It has to have a purpose, it has to have an end use. Like I said, if I'm able to beam high quality education material directly into the home of a common man, a middle class man, I think that's a great service. You can put it up on a YouTube channel, the kid could watch it, the student could watch it anytime he wants. That is what technology can change in today's India. And let me remind you, people of India have been patient, have been very patient with their governments, have been very patient with their bureaucracies, but please, I think all of us collectively cannot test them anymore. I think we can leverage technologies, we can leverage all the solutions that there are at our disposal to be able to actually deliver the goods. Let me also recall one of the things I heard from a good friend, the executive chairman of Cisco, John Chambers, in the recently conducted Global Entrepreneurship Summit in Hyderabad. He told me, and he told the larger audience also, that if you look at the top 100 global corporations in the world today, between them, all of them, collectively, between all of them, cumulatively, between all of them, they're not going to be able to create a great deal of employment. Because one company could grow, but another company could be downsizing and another company could disappear. That's the world we live in. So between the top 100 companies of the world today, the enterprises that you see today, in the next 10 years, collectively, there's not going to be much job creation happening. So how do we then cater to the 1.2 million people who join the workforce or think force every single month? How are we able to give them employment opportunities? How are we going to be able to serve them? I think the answer lies in innovation, answer lies in startups, answer lies in disruption. What do I mean? I mean, think of the world that we live in today. We live in a world where the largest bookseller does not own a bookstore. We live in a world where the largest transporter does not own a vehicle. We live in a world where the largest hotel chain does not own a single hotel room. We live in a world where processes are constantly being disrupted. We live in a world where definitions are changing by the minute. New disruptions are taking place every single second. We live in a world of ideators, tinkerers, innovators. And I think that is where lies India's biggest strength. Human resources. The think force that I talked about, the human resources that we all represent here, I think is where India's strength lies. When India will solve its problems, it will be solving problems for the rest of the world as well. It is not just going to be solving its own problems. What am I saying? I met Ajay Banga about a year ago, the president of MasterCard in New York. So I asked him, Ajay, how often does your server, MasterCard server, get hit? He said on a good day, about 50,000 times. On a bad day, it could go up to 500,000. People trying to hack into my system. So I said, then how do you encounter this? How do you work around this? He simply told me one thing. He said, I just have to keep building more and more walls, more and more shields around me to make sure that I am protected. All of these challenges that the new age throws up also offers a great opportunity for India. If India can solve the cybersecurity threat for itself, it will be creating millions and millions of new jobs for young Indians. A lot of people talk about how AI is going to take away a lot of jobs in the IT sector. I don't agree with it. I think there is analytics, there's IoT, there's cybersecurity like I mentioned, there's big data, there's machine learning, there's deep tech, there's a bunch of other things which are just opening up as we speak. We might feel that some doors are shutting down on us, but there are a number of other doors that are waiting to be opened. So my appeal to all of you is, I think we have to start working proactively on disrupting our legacy processes. We cannot be content with what we do. We have to be innovative. We have to be very, very clever about the way we do our jobs, our daily jobs, every single day. Now, the one big challenge, we've in fact launched India's largest technology incubator in Hyderabad called T-Hub. T-Hub today, in fact, it's a state-owned plug-and-play facility which is built on the theme of innovate, incubate and incorporate. While there are about a couple of hundred startups working out of this facility in Hyderabad, we are expanding the scope of this T-Hub by setting up a second phase which is going to be the world's largest technology incubator right here in our own city of Hyderabad. But the purpose of T-Hub is not just by itself to create a number of startups. The purpose of T-Hub also is to spur innovation, is to spur the thinking, is to instigate others into action, and we have succeeded in fact. In fact, I'm delighted to share with you that after we've launched T-Hub, today Hyderabad is reckoned as one of the leading lights on the innovation and startup in the startup world. And today, in fact, more than 30 co-working spaces in India, in the city of Hyderabad, have come up, which makes Hyderabad the city with the largest number of incubators and co-working spaces in the entire country, according to the Department of Science and Technology, which is a very credible achievement in 2 years. But the journey has just begun. The journey has just begun. In fact, the big challenge in a country like India to really feed these startups. On the one hand, you need quality think force, quality people. On the other hand, you also need capital, access to capital, venture capitalists. And I keep saying this, and I say it again. India, for a country like India, which needs to pole vault, which needs to accelerate its progress, which needs to really keep up with the impatient young Indians, we do not only need venture capital, we need adventure capital. Because I think what's important is those that have the ability to take a risk, they need to step up. They need to understand that India is going to be a huge payoff. The return on investment that India can offer today, in today's world, no other country can match it. The kind of market India offers, the kind of bevy of options India today presents, I think no other country offers. I got T-Hub inaugurated by Ratan Tata about 2 years ago. I in fact have deferred the inauguration of T-Hub by almost 4 months. Waited for Mr. Ratan Tata. A lot of people ask me, what is a septuagenarian, a 70-plus-year-old man? What has he got to do with startups? I think, in my opinion, he truly symbolizes the transformation that's sweeping India today. When you think of the word, when you hear the mention of the word Tata, you think steel, you think manufacturing, you think automobiles, you think all these big, buildings, bridges, etc. But today, when you open the newspaper, every single day you see this young man, 70-year-old young man, making investments into startups. And every day he's doing something new, keeping himself really occupied. So I think he really symbolizes the transformation that is sweeping this country. And I think that is where Telangana government, in fact, has also decided that we need to keep reinventing ourselves. We are not just content with T-Hub. We're also launching India's first prototyping facility and largest prototyping facility called T-Works. And it is intended to create and foster a hardware startup ecosystem. T-Works, in fact, would create an ecosystem of product development and manufacturing in electronics, electromechanical and mechanical domains, through active collaboration with industry, academia, investors, experts, and other stakeholders. I look forward, in fact, to work more closely with makers, doers, creators, tinkerers, and inventors of our country. And I look forward to working more closely with HR professionals also. In fact, a couple of things before I quit. Culture quotient is also extremely important in our country, especially with respect to startups. The diverse cultural backgrounds and faiths that need to be kept in view while empowering youth is something that HR professionals need to take very, very seriously. Because I think unless you have a confluence, unless you have a convergence of all these diverse cultures, of all these diverse ideas, of the heterogeneous country that they represent, you're not going to be able to create the kind of success we are dreaming of today. Our state, in fact, also has an Academy of Skill and Knowledge called TASK, which was launched with a definite intent of encouraging students and youth of the state to participate in the process of growth and development. In fact, TASK would empower the youth through training and honing of their skills, and task in associations with many premier schools such as ISB, is imparting training to those enrolled with it, even for entrepreneurship development. Let me just conclude with a quote of Martin Luther King Jr. He said, "The time is always right to do what is right." The time is always right to do what is right. I'm sure it's with this spirit that Business Today has decided to organize the Leadership Forum, because I think the time is right for India to take a pole position, a leadership role, because its biggest strength is its think force. Its biggest strength is its human resources. So I congratulate all the participants and organizers for this well thought out event, and I'm sure many deliberations would happen, and the outcome also would be equally fruitful. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Enjoy the rest of your evening.